choices of leaders in the middle of COVID-19. A physiological and psychological factors should a leader possess. In these difficult times, we have interviewed different leaders coming from different era and territories. We've gathered their insights toward the pandemic we are into and know their thoughts on how a good leader looks like amidst COVID-19. We asked them same questions and here are their answers. What it feels like to be a leader in our current situation.
Well, to be a leader in this time of pandemic is very challenging. In fact, we face a lot of challenges. Communication itself is a challenge. Meeting itself is a challenge. And somehow meeting deadlines also required by higher office is also another challenge.
Leader is very challenging and sad because of the changes brought by the pandemic COVID-19.
It was really tough on me to be a leader in this current situation. Honestly, I was handling my own battles, especially in terms of emotional stress brought out by this pandemic. And I think that I did not fully accomplish my roles as a class representative kasi may mga times na hindi ako naging responsible because I was down in the dumps and sobrang daming problems sa bahay. And I think these instances made me question my abilities as a leader.
For the COVID-19, we are no need to scare and worry. We still need to positive thinking, and our mindset must be very strong, and then we can solve all the problems in our life.
A leader should be someone that is very agile. He should be someone who is has the transformative quality, lalo na when it comes to what we're facing right now. We haven't had this situation, no? in a lifetime, in our lifetime already, and it's something that would require us to steadily change in a number of ways so that we could adapt and survive this situation. So for us, living in this situation, for you to be able to be a good leader, you must be agile to learn, agile to be or to create change for a lot of people. Okay, and to put others first before yourself.
It was hard at first due to several challenges, particularly in communications, because not all that are working from home have an existing and stable internet connection. The team were able to adjust to the new normal and found other ways of effective communication.
It feels sweet because I'm not really used to it. Since we are in the pandemic, as leaders, we need to guide our fellow classmates or mentors through the online platforms like Messenger because of the current situation.
Was there a point in your life that you want to quit?
Well, for me, leaders never quit. If you quit, you should not be a leader. As leader, there is no way for you to quit because somebody looks at you.
Because I love the children, I like the teachings. I think give to our Singapore, all the children have a good benefit, so I will not quit my job.
Yes, there is. We cannot physically meet each other, and that is not very easy. And we experience a lot of challenges.
On the negative side, meron akong behavior or character na give up para makapag-move ang buhay ko at makita ko yung mas magandang plano ng Panginoon sa buhay ko at sa pamilya ko. So isang bagay ang give up ko. yung procrastination. Dahil nung una, I always say, I still have much time to do them. Lagi kong dinidelay. Kunyari, pag may bagay na kailangan kong gawin, may pinapagawa yung asawa ko, may project na dapat kong tapusin, sabi ko, marami pang time. Saka ko na lang gawin ko muna ito. But then, yun na naman, dumating ang salita ng Panginoon sa buhay ko. Natutunan ko na nung give up ko yung procrastination, ang dami ko palang na-miss na pagkakataon na dapat tinatamasa ko na sa buhay ko. So I learned how to value time properly and to do things in a timely manner, na pag may dumarating na pagkakataon, opportunity, kailangan kong i-grab yun at hindi ko pakakawalan. Dahil dun, tuwing may opportunity na dumating sa buhay ko, pag-aaralan ko kaagad, I always ask wisdom leading from the Lord. At yun, nakita ko yung bunga na kapag ka hindi mo dinidili yung mga bagay, yung mga pagkakataon na dumarating, makikita ko at nararanasan ko kaagad yung magandang bunga sa buhay ko. And that is what I can testify, na because I have learned to always promptly obey the Lord, at yun ang nakita kong resulta. God always responds also to me. Every time I respond to Him, every time I obeyed Him, unwaveringly, undoubtedly.
There was never a time that I felt that I want to give up. I'm also fortunate to keep my job during the pandemic because the service offered by the company that I'm working for is considered as an essential services.
How do you cope up with the challenges brought by this pandemic?
Well, we are 21st century leaders also. And we need to cope up with things. And as a leader, we should be flexible. One word is, we should be flexible.
How do you cope up with the challenges brought by this pandemic? As I mentioned in the first question, I adapt. So we can't do anything because the enemy right now is something that can't be faced head on. So what I do is basically try to assess the current situation, check what things I could do to better my current situation, and then implement my plan. So what I do right now is to constantly check what things I normally do before the pandemic that I can still do right now, because as we know, this is the new normal already. And the reason why there are a lot of people having difficulties in adjusting to this new normal is because the change is actually abrupt. The change is something that's inevitable, and it has taken us during the time that we are not prepared. So right now, I'm trying to check whether I could still do the things that I do before, and then whatever that is, I adapt.
I try to give all my best in doing all my tasks, and I designated work appropriately to my team, and I am looking at the brighter side of this thing.
I learned that money cannot save you from the pandemic. Life really is short, and I realized that I should be spending more time with my family and practice work-life balance.
COVID-19, I'm quite lucky. I'm a Singaporean. My government is a very strong and a power to let me. I no need to worry about all these things. I still can continue for my teaching.
What advice can you give to those inspiring leaders like you?
Well, my advice is to leaders, we should be a role model. Let us walk our talk, and others will just follow because you live what you say.
I try to give all my best in doing all my tasks, and I designated work appropriately to my team, and I am looking at the brighter side of this thing.
Fourth question, what advice can you give to inspiring leaders like you? We must learn to delegate tasks and communicate different information to our peers. Even though communication might be hard in these trying times, we must give all our efforts to relay this information to our peers. And if we get tired from all these big responsibilities, let's not forget to rest, just rest, and carry on afterwards.
Advice can you give to inspiring leaders like aspiring leaders like you? Siguro I would give the same advice, no? In this changing era, in this changing situation that we are currently in, we need to be agile in learning, no? So we need to know the concept of learning, unlearning, and relearning for us to be able to really keep up with the times, no? Kasi this pandemic, it happened before our eyes, but we'll never know kahit may vaccine na or kahit may gamot na, there would still be, because this possibility has happened, so there would be other possibilities also. There could be another pandemic. Syempre, ayaw natin mangyari yun, but it's a possibility. There are also a lot of more possibilities that can happen, no? So we need to always be ready kasi these problems that will strike us, no, anytime that we are not expecting it. So basically that's it, no? We need to be able to learn to adjust on the situation before to the situation right now.
As an employee, we needed the proper medical supplies to fight against the pandemic. Our company provided enough supply of face masks and vitamins every month. More importantly, the company gave us assurance that we will still keep our jobs even with an ongoing pandemic.
Can you say if there is a difference in leading people now and then?
There is something difference in leading people, particularly in the new generation. But to people who somehow in the same generation as me, then there is no such difference. But to younger generation, there is difference because they are considered as millennials or they belong to generation X and Z. So there is a need for you to cope with that particular trend and particular habits of those individuals.
A lot of things that have changed, but I think my social life was challenged this year since I don't get to talk to my friends and I don't get to make friends with my new classmates. And unlike in previous setups, this was really draining my mental health since when I go on breaks, I usually have my friends to be with, but during online classes, there are no classmates to laugh with. There are no classmates to run to and such.
There's a difference now because this pandemic, especially here in Canada, there's no in-person attendance sa church. Karamihan walang in-person attendance sa school. Ang malaking pagbabago na nakita ko dito sa Canada, sabi ng asawa ko, nung kararating daw niya, yung mga tao, they are really living in a free world. That's why ang tinatawag nilang ang Canada ay the land of the free, the land of the blessed. Kaya nung first time daw ang misis ko, pag lumalabas, susuot siya ng mask. Pero sinabihan daw siya ng ate niya, huwag kang magsusuot ng mask. Kasi pag nakita ka ng mga tao, isipin nila, you are very ill. Ngayon ang pagbabago na nakita ko. Ngayon naman, pag hindi ka nagsuot ng mask, pag nasa public places ka, ang sama ng tingin sa'yo. That's the difference na nakikita ko ngayon. Pero alam niyo po, What a big difference na personally sa buhay ko ay yung tao ngayon, pag wala ka sa Panginoon, alam ko kahit sa saang mang dako ng mundo, anyone who is not with the Lord, especially in this situation, napakahirap mag-survive. But what I have learned, what I have experienced, na pag nasa Panginoon ka, that even in this time of challenging times, we can thrive in this situation. We are not only surviving, but by the grace of God, we are thriving. Dahil itong panahon na to na nagkaroon ng pandemic, ito din yung pagkakataon na binuksan ng Panginoon yung pagkakataon na magkaroon ako ng cleaning business. Hindi lang ako empleyado, God entrusted me a business where I can employ people. That's the difference na nakita ko ngayon, na itong pandemic na to, hindi naging mas lalong humirap ang buhay ko, but then God showed it to me. God have proven it to me that even in this pandemic, He has still His good plan. He still want to do it in my life.
As a leader, what support do your employees need during this outbreak?
First and foremost, you should understand them. Everybody, when pandemic hit us, everybody panic. And first is, as leader, you should understand them. Second is, the health and safety of our employees are very important and necessary to take good care of it and to see.
Support that I can give to my colleagues, being considerate to them and giving them a lot of moral support.
Of course, naturally, aside from the physical and the financial support, more than the physical and financial support would be psychological, I think. No, psychological and siguro more on the psychological support na lang. Kasi for us to be able to function properly, for us to be able to be normal again, for us to be able to be more healthy physically and psychologically, we need to be able to create that proper mindset. So siguro if there would be more opportunities for our employees to cope up or to assess their current situation in this pandemic, siguro mas magiging maayos yung operations natin. No? I think the most, no, for us to be able to feel that it is normal and our physical bodies adapt to this current situation, siguro kailangan maging maayos muna yung mindset ng members ng team, members ng staff, for us to be able to go on and move on, no, to this current situation.
After hearing and knowing their stories, different reactions and realizations were expressed by the members of the group. And here as follows. Like the ongoing pandemic, leaders can easily fall into the traps of waiting for the situation to clarify how to act and downplaying the threat in order to reassure people. It turns out that these instincts mean failing the coronavirus leadership test. Passing the test requires leaders to act in an urgent, honest, and repetitive fashion, recognizing that mistakes are inevitable and correcting course, not assigning blame. Yes, A good leader never blames his subordinates once challenges come along. A good leader talks about what they learned from that failures and learn as a team. Learn as one, stand as one. Let us put in mind that a true leader has no real face. There are no concrete guidelines and standards to measure what a good leader is. Everyone can be a leader. Anyone can give a hand to those in need. Because leadership is not a position or a title. It is action and example. It is a hope that you learned a lot from this webinar, and let us learn to be a leader in our own little ways. Thank you and mabuhay!